Hello, I'm ADXY and I'm going to do a breakdown of my track Convolve today. So, this is the project. We got 70 tracks, two kind of main sections. First section is the first drop, which goes into the breakdown, into the second drop. You know, pretty standard song structure. But you know, always worth pointing it out. So I started this song off with this piano kind of sequence, this chord progression. So pretty simple. Resolving back to the root note. Actually, no, the fourth. Is it the fourth? Yeah, it's the fourth of the scale. So we're in G major, right? Any F sharps? No F sharps, but we're in G major, so fourth, kind of almost sustaining the fourth, the entire chord progression, just with that 6/5, real quick, just to add that variation. So pretty simple. This piano is just a contact piano. With some reverb, a bit of gain increase, EQing out the sides here. So I keep the sub, any sub there in mono. You can see working on a little bit. And then a bit of compression just to kind of give it that more tight feeling. So yeah, that's the main line of the intro especially. And then we bring in our ambience. So a big part of the ambient is this frozen pattern, which is just a piano in reverse, reverbed out. So if I make a new track, put it forward, I can show you what it actually is. So yeah, that's the ambience of the track. And on top of that, we've got reverb, grain delay, which pitches up with the grains to make it real sparkly. More reverb with octave feedback, so it enhances those sparkles even further. EQ'd out kind of almost all the mids and lows, and then some compression on top of that. Now that piano is layered with this guitar. Which is a guitar swell I recorded way ages ago. Without this EQ, it sounds like this. And it's a guitar swell. Put a Haas effect on it. So this is just a delay in Ableton, with the left and right timings very slightly changed, which creates that Haas effect, which makes it pretty much almost purely side channel when you listen to it. Makes it really wide. Well, I mean, it's already very wide. It just enhances that wideness. EQing with this ridiculous EQ. to make it kind of change the chord that you hear, which layers really well in with the piano. Hits those same frequencies, and then just a reverb on the end. Using this Valhalla Supermassive. And then layering on top of that is this crowd recording. This is just Foley of a concert crowd I recorded once back in the day. So making it on pure side channel, so it's really just there for kind of that, what do you call it? Ear candy, really. So yeah, purely side channel, nothing in the mid channel. Layering it all together. And yeah, so those are the main kind of backbone ambiences of the song throughout the entire piece. And then this fades in and goes into the first section with some, yeah, with just some transition effects. So you will notice that one of the channels is disabled. This channel here, I don't know, I don't have that plugin anymore. And I honestly don't remember what it was in the first place. So looking at it was probably a choir or strings of some sort layered in with these other kind of pads. Likely a choir, but it'll be fine. We can manage. We can manage. So transition wise, we've just got a kind of a vocal swell with a noise swell with a impact as well. So that's the noise swell. That's made with a reverb clap. The vocal swell. And then the impact, which is just a reversed impact. Pre-drop vocal is just a vocal breath sample, so it's someone breathing in. And yeah, let's go into the different layers of this section. So piano continues. Then we get the top line. So melodies start playing. So we've got a piano here. We've got some strings here. But yeah, the main melody is held by the piano and the vocal chops, which are here. Nothing is labeled in this project, so it's a bit disorganized, but if you follow along, I can kind of figure it out. So melody piano, same piano, bit of saturation just to kind of make it distort it a little bit, make it kind of shine a little bit further and sit a bit more front in the mix. And then we've got some EQ, just EQing out some of the top end so it's not as bright and just really getting it to sit together. Sorry, this is not the melody. This is just bass notes. Layering that with stringed double basses. And a saw bass. Saw bass is very simple. Just saw wave, unison, low passed off, and a bit of distortion. So yeah, you'll notice The bass does have a high pass on it. That's to really give contrast from this section to the actual drop section. So you don't want, I didn't want it to have all the sub there, just to control it a bit more and make it a little bit more quiet. Then we've got cellos layered on top, holding a fifth. And then we've got main cello melody here. So this is just a solo cello, bit of saturation, little bit of EQ, put it in a reverb pool, and a bit of compression. But when making these, especially string lines, super important to modulate. So I'm modulating here the dynamics and the expression together. So these are the dynamics, and this is my expression. That really brings out that kind of natural string sound, and yeah, makes it seem more real than it is. Layering on top of that, we've got more ambience, so added ambience. This is another serum patch. So we've got a saw wave with unison, low passed off, slow attack speed, and then just reverbed out, big reverb, and a bit of EQ. Now moving on, we've got piano up. To build that same ambience as before. And we are back from a crash. Okay, so vocal samples. We have just some chops. So pretty simple, just some random chops thrown together. Auto-tune, bit of OTT on them, bring up that high end and kind of balance out, just really compress the vocals a bit. EQ, delay, some sparkles with the green delay, ozone imager, and to make it wider, and then some reverb on the end. And that's pretty much the same between all these three layers. Then we have this group, which I'm pretty sure is guitars. Yep. So this is just me plucking a guitar. This is the bass processing I'm using on the guitar, pushing it into a limiter, bit of mild saturation on it. You can see I'm not really driving it, I'm just putting it into a medium curve, and then EQing out low end and the high end, delay, and then reverb. And then I'm layering that with this, which is just the same thing. I was too lazy to re-record it, so it's just the same guitar, just pitched up an octave. In the big picture, even though it's kind of choppy, when you layer it together, you really don't notice the difference. And then another guitar I recorded. This is the processing in Guitar Rig, EQ, delay, reverb. And then this is another recording. Which is really horrifying to listen to. It is just guitar, pitched up an octave and reversed. So if we listen to the original recording, which is just that. So in the big kind of scheme of the entire project itself, even though this is really haunting, it adds a lot of sparkle and a lot of character to that kind of high end. So acts like a bit of air candy. So all it is a bit of EQ, erosion to add some weirdness to it, bit reduction, and downsampling, more EQ to really, with really sharp curves to kind of accentuate these two corners on the curve, and then vinyl, which is just a kind of simulator, which is mostly just doing the warp, pitch warp. So yeah, and then we layer that with some effects, so impacts, noise, more vocal swells, and then we layer it with some other things. So choir, more choir, another impact, a mud tree, and then drum group. This is purely just impact and sidechain trigger. So like I said in my previous video, I sidechain using a MIDI trigger. This is the old way I do it. So MIDI trigger going to a return track, which is activating Serum Effects. And then even though this is the distortion kind of plugin within Serum Effects, it's not doing any distortion, it's purely just volume reduction. So this LFO is the trigger, it just goes through once as an envelope, automating the mix. So you mix from wet to dry. And that way I had full control over the shape and timing of my sidechain. So yeah, that's what all this first section is in terms of those layers. In terms of planning this section, I mean, I don't really have a plan when I create music, but very much doing a call and response. So, you know, vocal sample leading into the cello as the response, going into another call with the vocal samples. Yeah, really doing the most I can to make this section pretty. So you might notice it's a little bit different from the final release version. I'm not sure why this version is different, but in terms of the melody stuff, it's a little bit different. This is just the project file I have, so that's all we can do. So breakdown section, just kind of going back to the root and where this song originated from, which is this piano line, and then really strongly introducing this little melody here. So piano line layered with music boxes. Which is laid with this. More ambience reversed, similar to this one over here. This is a counter melody to complement the main melody. And really, a big goal for this melody in this section is to create suspense. I'm trying to keep the suspense, like provide a bit of a relief from the first section here, but start adding some suspense. So this melody, you can see I'm doing a lot to stay away from any root notes. It's all fifths. And then resolving to the fifth, which makes it feel like it wants to resolve to somewhere, which is in fact this second drop. So big part of the thinking process and developing the song well with that. So alongside that, this little effects. So this is just the noise, just with some panning, just so using auto pan as an LFO to automate the kind of LFO sound of that. Moving into the second drop. So yeah, second drop is a variation of the first drop, this time using these vocal chops as the main melody. Funny fact, with this main melody, when I was making it, I originally started it with at a different pitch, and then didn't like that pitch, and then pitched it down like 4 or 5 semitones. I'm not sure how much I pitched up or down, and then landed on this one. But it was really hard in the making of it, tossing up between which one sounded better, and I'm really not sure. Because I'm happy with the final product, but I feel like this melody could have been a little bit better. I'll come back to that in a second. But so main drop, main features are this plucking saw bass and vocal chops, really, alongside the full kind of set of drums. So this layer, the ambience as before, and then, yeah, so piano cuts away as well, gives the rest of the song space, and then bass. Which, quite an angry sounding bass. So first layer, sub bass, which is just a sine wave with a little bit of an angle. Well, not an angle. It's got some harmonics to it. You can see here. That just helps it be a bit more present in the sound. Distortion, further kind of adding some more harmonics, adding some high-end noise to the sub. So, and if I pull up a, okay, back to it. So what I'll do is I will keep this over here so we don't crash. So sub sound. And if I show you spectrum, even though it's a sine wave, lots of harmonics, especially in this kind of low, or kind of high lows, low mids. That's just to really fill out the spectrum. That is layered with this saw bass. So yeah, very synth wavy saw bass, saw wave, unison, detuned unison, sorry, and then envelope on the filter with the resonance so it sweeps down. Distortion, saturation, so it sits a bit better in the mix. EQ, EQing out a lot of those sides, and since it's layered on top of the sub, I want to get rid of all this sub kind of frequency, give the sub room to breathe, and then lay it on top of the plug. So serum, again, unison detuned, 2 octaves, and then envelope on the filter. Saturator, once again, adding a few more harmonics, EQ, mid side again, and then this auto filter is to just kind of bring it in. So if I copy this over, we can hear that as well. As part of the build up into the drop. Then we have classic pluck layer. So this is a preset kind of pluck I made myself. It's based on a piano. Yeah, I'll go through it one by one. So piano, mono, and a chorus, adds a bit of phasing to it, pushed into an OTT, just kind of very mildly, then into a saturator, which is kind of hard clipping, not super hard, but it's like a curved hard clip, into another distortion. This is a driving distortion, so it's cutting frequencies off, adding a lot of resonance. Really makes, I really love driving kind of distortion. It really fattens out a sound. Very different to how other distortions do it. Erosion on sine mode adds that kind of downsampled noise, another OTT. And you can see we're starting to get that guitar-y kind of noise sound. Gate on, so all the parameters here are kind of automated. Some of them start to ring out on its own, so the gate is just to stop that ringing out. All pass phase. This is it's like I'm pretty sure it's a max volume device. Well, it's not, but it's very basically is. And that is pretty much just transient convolving. Same with the EQ3s. So the EQ3s in Ableton are horribly coded, but if you stack enough of them, you get some transient convolution. So that's what these are doing. Bit of ozone imager just to widen out the sound. EQ, delay, and then reverb. Final EQ, and then utility just to bring the gain up a bit. So that's my piano amp block, and that's layered on top of this. Again, synthwavy influence from in this song using this pad. Once again, a saw wave, detuned unison, and then envelope on the filter. And that really fills out the sound when layered up with everything else. Vocal chops. Once again, kind of just random vocal chops thrown together. And layered on, for the end of the phrases, layered an octave up to really accentuate the kind of sentence structure of these. So running through this chop chain, we have okay. So these vocal chops get running through processing. We've got auto tune, little alter boy to bring the performance down a little bit lower. Into OTT, I won't play these because these is one thing that's contributing to my project crashing. Into OTT, compressing the hell out of them with glue compressor, saturation, add some more harmonics, ozone imager to make it a little bit wider, replica, which is my delay plugin, reverb, and then EQ. We will, what we'll do is that, okay. Now, next layer. So yeah, using same elements from earlier for a lot of it. And then, oh, I guess we'll go into the drums. So drum group, we have our kick here. Big fat kick. Real door slammy sounding kick. Sub boost because the default kick sounds kind of weak in the context of it. So sub boost, saturator, monocompatible widening. So this is good for adding some side channel to the kick without it being ruined when it's summed to mono, and then EQing that side channel. So it's only affecting the upper frequencies, the transients of the kick. Then we've got toms. Big stadium sounding toms. These I'm making more mono, saturating, reverb, EQ. Got our sidechain trigger. Got a layered tom just for this final fill. And our snare, which is 3 layers together Okay, so our snare, I'm just layering a regular snare sound, but it's a bit kind of weak sounding, so layering it with a 505 snare to add a bit more of that kind of fundamental frequency, and then layering on a snap to add a bit more in the top end. Together sounds like this. And then we have our hats, crashes, rides. So hats, a bit of widening on it, and EQ. Shaker, crash, and ride. Together sounding like this. So yeah, that's what makes up the drop. And yeah, not too much to say about that. Which, yeah, leads into outro, which is really just revisiting the intro again. This time without the piano. So like the breakdown, no piano, and more emphasis on the music boxes. So yeah. So yeah, if you have any other questions, if there's anything I missed with this project, let me know. Otherwise, this project, it kind of, even though it sounds quite dense and complex, it's quite simple with the layers. You know, there's just a lot of counter melodies and harmonies going on that add that complexity and that depth to the sound. So yeah, anyway, if there's any other songs you'd like me to go through, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching.